the stake size, it says 40, but it's pretty much unlimited.
Yeah.
So I can now have 5,000 of these or whatever. Stuff like that.
Shit stacks.
Yeah. Then what they basically did that at some point it started to be like a pattern that every league they added a shit ton of new currencies that would be around the league, like for instance Essence, and they would add an Essence tab. So you want to interact with the new league currency, like kind of in order and properly, buy a new stash tab that's kind of specifically custom designed for that currency.
Wow.
This is a no bullshit gaming show where we talk about games and their revenue in great detail, powered by our ad monetization, game design, and user acquisition triple threat expertise. Welcome to the 2.5 Gamers, the unfiltered truth served with a side of giggles. Let's not forget this is a 4 a.m. conference discussion vibe, so let's not take it too seriously. Tune in now and stay 2.5 steps ahead of the gaming industry.
Hello. This is 2.5 Gamers. Happy New Year's. My name is Matej Lančarič.
And I'm Jakub Remjar.
And we are your hosts. I have a disco ball. Jakub has a Christmas tree. So we are covered. We don't have Felix though. He's in Seoul. And we're going to be in Seoul in a few days as well because we have an interesting event happening with Moloko, Sensor Tower, and Airbridge. So, what are we talking about today?
PC game.
PC game. Okay, good. Because before we go there, it's not really relevant to PC. I just want to announce we partnered with PVX Partners. They're becoming a sponsor of our podcast because they're dear friends. I'm an investor in the company as well, and they're good guys. And what they do is basically they want to be known as the folks that can help you access the most effective form of growth capital once your game have the metrics to back it out, actually. So it's non-dilutive and the simplest and most effective credit line for marketing. So you don't really need to sell your soul and sell your shares. They actually scale your game, which is great. And, there are flexible payments, repay as you get paid. You can get term sheet within 24 hours. And, you can work with a team that's entirely made up of ex-gaming operators and investors and some gaming folks as well. And they take the risk with you and, you can scale fast, but you need to have the game to back it up. So, they don't give money to everyone. They actually pick their battles. So that's, they're looking into the metrics as well. So that's what I want to say.
These are the guys that can help fund your UA, yeah? So
yeah.
me screaming at people that are telling me they have like insane metrics, and I'm telling them, why don't you get the mortgage?
Yeah, exactly.
This is the
mortgage.
Thing which is
this
more
is the
practical than getting the mortgage.
Yeah. So go to pvxpartners.com. It's going to be in the show notes as well. Don't get the mortgage, but get funding from PVX Partners rather than just the mortgage. So, yeah, but this is exactly it. I'm actually I'm investing in a few other companies, and one of that company is signing with PVX Partners, and I just kind of found out about it. So I didn't, put any words behind. Yeah, but the worlds collide. I mean, it makes sense because it's a great game with great metrics, and this seems like a good match.
Of course, and they didn't get the mortgage.
It didn't get the mortgage. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, PVX Partners, for partnering up with us, and it's gonna be a lot of fun and great ride. Back to the episode. So PC,
as usual, everybody knows what I want to talk about.
And, of course, for some months.
And now we're going to finally talk about because one very interesting thing happened, which is quite important. I finally got to the end game.
Endgame, okay.
Yes, so we're talking about Path of Exile 2. Yeah, Mate's noises.
I fell asleep. Oh, sorry. Jesus, guys. No, this looks like Diablo.
I would say
No,
it's
no.
much darker, especially with the two submarines rotating around my character.
Yeah. Oh, submarine. Nice. Look, so I think I download. No, I think I downloaded Dark and Darker first, and then but I already bought Path of Exile to the first early access, whatever noob version for $30. For $30, no 200 or whatever was there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it more definitely as it kind of unfolds. But to give people a little bit of background here, or like I'm going to do a little bit of history episode, because I think a lot of time where people are talking about this game, they just don't understand the context of what these guys achieved and how they got here. So we're going to go the memory lane, and at some point I'm going to log in even Path of Exile 1.
Oh, of course.
Show some important things here.
Before we start, I want to stress this is not a game for everyone. It's super hardcore. That's what I think.
But it's very popular. It's very popular.
It is. Heads off. Yeah, it's definitely popular, and I want to find time to play this. But that's the thing. If this is as complex as Path of Exile 1, I'm just not gonna.
I would say like 10% less complex.
Well, but you
as much as they can do.
You were pitching this as a very streamlined version, like this is gonna be super easy, and I was like, okay.
I think they just shave off like 10% of complexity. That's it.
Okay, well, in that case,
as they can do.
In that case, I just threw $30 out of the window. Okay, thank you very much. Why I should just bought this after the episode, not before the episode. Okay, so guys, the listeners, this should.
So why are we even talking about this? So we're talking about this because of this, of course, which is the Steam charts graph of Path of Exile 2. So if you look at it, the early access started December 6th, if I understand correctly, or 7th, I don't know. And from there, where it hit this kind of all-time peak of 578k players online, it went a little bit on decline, but that's normal in Path of Exile life cycle, so that's nothing new here. But especially because this is early access, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. The important thing when you're looking at these numbers that you need to keep in mind that this is just Steam numbers. The company is, I would say, not pretty big. Like it's not like thousands of people. It's still hundreds of people. Guys are based from New Zealand, and I remember playing beta for Path of Exile when it launched in 2013, actually. So it's very, very kind of old and crafty. And what they're doing here is that it's one of those like, we mastered the category, mastered the genre, mastered the game, and you just see the end result of it. Similar what we've seen with Helldivers, similar what we've seen with Baldur's Gate 3, so on and so forth. If we look at the charts actually of Path of Exile 1, and this is even more interesting here, you can see that they pretty much hit their all-time peak in July this year after being online for literally 11 years. And they were still going up. Because Path of Exile and their kind of RPG system lives in these 3-month cycles that they kind of invented here, where each 3 months there's a new league which resets the whole economy of the current game. If you're playing the new league, you can still play in standard, where there's like economy is completely fucked, but kind of nobody cares about that, to be honest. Everybody starts from fresh because like 3 months league goes on, everybody needs to build their new characters, so on and so forth, and there's usually like new mechanic. You can only play the mechanic in the league, you can't play in the standard. It gets put into standard if it's good later down the line after the league. Sometimes it doesn't because it shit.
Sucks.
could be shit. Yeah, they killed some of these mechanics. It's like, they're not geniuses. That didn't say that. Like, they're very good, but sometimes they can do mistakes. But what this thing does, as you see these peaks, so it's what I don't think so. They always try this thing, because from beta I remember we were doing like Act 1 to Act 3 in 3 difficulties for like 2 years or 3 years. I don't know how much. Like, just like my head was blown off by running the same content all over again back then in the dog runs. But the game got built up.
That happened to us with Diablo 4, because we played beta and that was amazing. And then when I played the real game, I was like, fucking hell.
You mean Diablo 3?
No, Diablo 4.
Diablo 4.
Both of us. We played the beta. We played the beta for like both weekends, and it's like, oh, this is great. And then the game came out, like, fuck, this is terrible.
The
content is not. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. Same happened with Diablo 3, by the way. The beta was great. The content was definitely not that good. Anyway, so just saying that this model kind of works very well, and keep in mind they are free to play. Path of Exile 1 is free to play. Path of Exile 2 will be free to play. It's not free to play yet. It's
like it is free to play. You can wait until it's.
Yeah, you can wait until it's free to play, but it is not free to play now. Just like stating the obvious here, you need to buy into it through the the packages on the website, which we can go over those, by the way, here. So if we go literally into the shop and then like buy packs, then you see that you can buy these like early access packs and stuff like that.
That's me, $30.
Yeah, so just the base $30 kind of pack can give you access, and of course you get still the points that you can use for microtransactions, and we cover those. But this can go all the way into something like, if I just zoom here, what's that? No, there's a previous expansion. Yeah, here we go.
It's like 500 something.
Yeah, 450, which gives you also a t-shirt, hoodie, a book, and I don't know what, basically. It used to be like you could design a unique item with the team and stuff like that. So a lot of kind of perks, basically. So, but back to the numbers. So these guys pretty much developed the system in their very specific, unique version of free-to-play, and they've been running it for many, many years now. And what they're achieved also, and you need to kind of keep this in mind, is that they've been building content, and so much content, because each 3 months they basically release a Diablo-like expansion onto the game with like new stuff, new skills, new content, new bosses, new everything, new mechanics. Then it gets tested for 3 months. They fine-tune it. Then they decide if it was good or bad. Usually the community sentiment is pretty strong about this, if it's good or bad. And then they put it into the main game, and it upgrades the main game, and then the cycle repeats. So what happened with Path of Exile 2 is there's shit ton of content already, because it was taken from Path of Exile 1, which they already tested, and know that it's very good. So if you look at the structure of the game, actually what happened here, and this was talked in their video, is that they know that the campaign and like the initial, let's say, single player experience, the story and everything, like currently, for instance, Act 1 to Act 3 takes like 25 hours, and they know the end game takes like hundreds of hours, and everybody just wants to play that. And they had this very, very smart decision with the team that for early access, instead of fully developing the campaign, they rather fleshed out the end game, talk about the end game, and they just said, okay, we won't build Act 4, 5, 6 for the early access, we'll build it only for the release. We'd rather put you through Act 1, 2, and 3 again on just a higher difficulty, and that's it, because you fly through it anyway, and rather focus on endgame, which I think is a very good decision.
That is because you want to play the end game, which should be, like the most time you spend afterwards, because you've run through the campaign. Like this happened with Diablo 4.
Exactly, which didn't have any end game.
Yeah, there's no end game. It's really
So
endgame.
exactly the opposite directions Diablo
It's
4 was
perfect,
doing,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
Because now they're fixing the end game. Before it was just broken. Yeah. So we have this, and let's talk about the game actually. So about the end game, we can look through it. Now they have this kind of very, very nice world fleshed out in these kind of nice maps. So you start in Act 1. There are these. Don't want to spoil the story that much. I think the story is kind of pretty good, but it's
It
much
is,
more.
okay.
It's much more boss driven these times. So there's many more bosses. The game, as everybody is talking about it, is the Dark Souls or ARPGs, which isn't really the best comparison, but it is, let's say, if you want to have like a surface level understanding of this, yes, it can be said like that. So it's kind of hard, and you need to, because there was this one mechanic added, which is the dodge roll thing, which is very, very kind of iconic for these Souls games, where your character just like needs to dodge a lot of attacks, which can one shot you and like insta kill you during the boss fights. That's how they're balanced around. So this game isn't balanced like Path of Exile 1, where you just like face tank the laser beams and whatever and stuff, like because I have so much armor and whatever.
Yeah.
No, here it's like if you stand and shit, you'll die. If you wait for somebody to swing a giant hammer on you, you'll die. It's very simple. So it's not, I would say it's not that hard as the usual kind of masocore crowd, the masochistic core version of Dark Souls, where it's like you really like the pain of you dying all the time non-stop until you learn completely perfect boss mechanics and everything, and you can kind of get there like Elden Ring stuff. But it's still much more harder. It's much more punishing, definitely much more punishing. We'll talk about that later. But and people like it, by the way. That's why people like the Dark Souls games, and why Dark Souls is like, even the Elden Ring game is one of the most kind of popular games there is.
It's hard.
It's hard, exactly.
It's hard,
people like difficulty. If it's done properly, people like difficulty. They don't really like to steamroll through content.
Yeah, where did we see that? Oh, wait a second, we are warriors.
Exactly.
Same thing. Same fucking thing. Because
So
it's hard and it's challenging, and I just want to play and get better just until I figure it out. That's
exactly.
It.
Challenging stuff in that properly is very important to do, and it's popular. It's not that, like, as you see there, like it's 400. It's what, like top 10 was it on Steam? What was it on Steam? I think like we will have like EU numbers, which is like lower because America is sleeping. But yeah, even now it's like top 3 on Steam currently. After Dota,
America is sleeping. It's middle of the day for you.
Sorry.
Talking about. Well, dear listeners, this is a night show, a late night show.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. discussion vibe. It's definitely not like America is sleeping.
But it's still like top 3 game on Steam. And as I said, even counting the Steam numbers, I still think they're like less than half of what the actual numbers are, because there's consoles and there's a native client that people are used to play this game through native client, not Steam. So still, and also Epic client.
Epic, yeah, I bought it through Epic.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, like, I think they said already that during launch there were more than 1 million CCU. So definitely the numbers are just much higher.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on, and why this game even makes money, and what's the free-to-play part of it, and why are we talking about this? So, disregarding the difficulty, we can like finish the mechanics a little bit. So we play through these Act 1, Act 2, which is a desert area, Act 3, which is a jungle area. They're kind of continuing their nice kind of theme from the first game, where you have these like wild civilizations, which are these like corrupted whatever, like basically Maya theme stuff. Then
corrupted whatever sounds really good.
Because it's all about this kind of corruption thing, and then you're chasing this piece of corruption, whatever.
Yeah.
So you have then after you play through it, you see Act 1 is pretty much through the cruel difficulty, which is the big one, and all these things will be basically removed. So you will have like Act 1 to Act 7, and then you hit the end game. And this is really important.
Jesus, looks like a Forex map.
Exactly.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, like Forex map of Heroes of Might and Magic, basically.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true, yeah.
So what's happening here, that guys really fleshed out their end game, and I mean like really fleshed out. I think it's much more interesting, at least.
What do you do here? What do you do here?
In the previous game, the game would end up in Endgame, which would be the Atlas of Maps. And it's a mechanic where you want to run through content all the time, and there needs to be some kind of additional progressions. So because they have, by the way, they have their own skill tree as usual, the player skill tree, which is this, our favorite skill tree.
Jesus
It,
Christ.
by the way, got simplified a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not joking. Life got removed from it, so it's much more simpler. But yeah, not for the not for the usual player. But why not? There's also a skill tree for the Atlas. So what's happening here? That also your Atlas has a skill tree, which is much less complex. But
what
still,
is
you
Atlas?
have it. So Atlas is this end game. It is basically this Atlas of Maps, which is this end game area.
So it's the
it's what you play in the end game. Yeah, the world. So your quest line ends basically here, and the guy tells you like run maps and stuff like that. And this is how you pretty much get to the end game boss fights, the final content of the game, and like the hardest part of the game, whatever. You can get there.
Yeah.
So how do you run this thing is basically you start here in your Ziggurat Refuge, which is basically end of campaign. The story kind of switches into it, whatever. And then you have these maps around you. So let's say I completed this one, and you can see that I can only go to connecting ones. So from this one, I can go here, here, here. I cannot go here because I need to complete this map. So you need to pretty much eat your way through it. So for instance, I see here there's a boss here in Sump, which I can go
through.
Which I can find through. So I go here, I pick, let's say, I don't know, tier 2 Wayne stones here. I go to map device, and here I insert it, and I could go into the map, and pretty much area has +1 to level monsters. Area contains a deadly map boss. And now you start to see that like some of these maps are different than the others, because let's say the map here has boss, the map here has delirium, the map here has nothing, and so on and so forth. There are these like bigger fortresses. Let's say the Lost Towers are the ones that you, if I understand correctly, you complete the map and it reveals an area around it, literally like in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Like works exactly the same. And then you have these like special buildings which are containing the like keys to the big bosses and stuff like that. For instance, here I have the Realm Gate. If I would have the keys, I can like go to big bosses from there. And you can have like whatever kind of different things spawn these maps. The important part is it's infinite. This goes infinite. So if I go, for instance, here at the end of the screen, you see this goes infinite.
What?
Yes.
How and why?
Because you have all these different modifiers, and if you, let's say, if I...
But I don't have the life to complete this game.
You don't complete it ever.
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you very much for listening, guys. This is it. Yeah, you don't complete
very
this
simple.
game. Yeah.
But the thing is that they have different rewards to kind of complete your character. That's maybe the thing, because my character, for instance, is level 69 Infernalist. You hit a level 100 kind of level ceiling. That's it. You can go over level 100, but it gets very, very hard afterwards.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
if you die in this game, you lose experience actually. So if you keep dying, you stop leveling, which means the content will be just always stronger than you, and you need to change your build, get better items, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But the system is just great because, and that's why I'm talking about this, because there are these mechanics like breach, like delirium, like bosses, like what's that, precursor tablets or whatever that you see here, simulacrum. What I'm saying is that each of these different mechanics that they built are previous leaks from Path of Exile 1. So this is 3 months of content, 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 3 months of content already.
Yeah.
That they translated into this game, that they worked into. And there's also the Ultimatum and Sanctum leak. So they basically took like content from something like 10 leaks, which is like 30 months of work, basically, I would say. And then the base game, of course. So,
okay.
So this game has a giant head start against everybody else, basically, in the ARPG genre, because it took like everything good from Path of Exile 1 and put it into Path of Exile 2. That's what's happening. It's not perfect. There are giant problems. which still are, I mean, like community-wise giant, like not that like people are kind of freaking over, but endgame players are freaking over. I'm also freaking over because armor is kind of useless here, and like completely useless, and everybody is now switching to energy shield. And yeah, don't really want to get into specifics, but everybody thought that they could play their character with life and armor-based builds. No, they can't, because armor is shit. And everybody is now switching to energy shield, which literally like this one armor here that I have in my thing, which is like costs nothing, can just give me instantly like 1000 energy shield, which is just much more efficient. If I would have spec into energy shield, like 6000 basically. So why bother with armor at least? Like whatever. Like if you want more, go watch Grip's videos. Basically, he explains stuff here. So that's one big problem. The other big problem is magic find stat on gear, like rarity basically. So everybody is now specking into rarity, which means that you have stuff like increased rarity of items, which concerns the currencies, and you can get observed levels of these, like 500% increase on your gear, which means that somebody is basically playing a piñata simulator and you are doing like desert, like where's the loot?
Yeah, where's the loot?
and yeah, people are doing absurd levels, and economy is kind of being inflated very heavily now. Like if you go to currency exchange now, just to kind of give you an example, the divine orbs are the currency to trade to these days, and they cost 126 for like exalted orbs to get one divine orb. When I started the league and like kind of looking, it was 60. It was like 7 days ago.
Okay.
that tells you about the speed of inflation.
Yeah.
So everybody is basically waiting for the developers to return after holiday break, and they will like nerf stuff heavily. So that's probably going to happen.
It says early access for a reason.
Exactly.
What would you expect to work? I'm really surprised sometimes when I read the reviews in early access or beta. I was like, "Oh, this doesn't work." Like, "Oh, no." But
that's the thing, that in the current age, if you early access on Steam, that's your global release date basically. And everybody take it as that. Like that's how it works.
Yeah,
now.
okay,
like,
fair.
The number of impressions you get from Steam, the hype and everything, like that's it.
I know. Yeah.
That's how unfortunately it works. But the good thing is that these guys still have a lot of content, so you won't get. They are definitely not content starved. That like because even if you look this, they still have like half of the classes in. There will be like 2 times more classes, 2 times more ascendancies. I don't know how many more skills basically. Like if I go into skills, you could see that for instance here, that all of these skills, for instance like X skills, sword skills, spear skills, dagger skills, like basically half of the skills are not even here. So they're still like have shit ton of stuff to add in. So content's not the problem. They will be adding loads of content. The game will be, by the way, going into free-to-play global release this year. They said basically between 6 to 12 months of early access. So it could be somewhere between June and December, which my guess will be December.
Most probably before Christmas,
as usual. Like you don't want to rush these things, and you can fine tune forever.
Why they just got some interesting money from the early access? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they got very interesting money from the early access.
Based on the concurrent users.
Yeah. So in my opinion, the game's great. Still, it's very great for normal players. Like a lot of people are playing this in this kind of solo self-found mode, where basically it disables trading, so you cannot trade with other players. You can only use stuff what you find. It's still a very enjoyable experience, and like people
I want to play this as like single player. I don't really want to play.
Yeah, literally, like if you go and let me show you. So in the character creation screen, you can literally create a new character.
I see.
And you see like solo self-found. So hardcore means only 1 death per character. Don't do this. But if you click solo self-found, there's optional disables trade and party play for this character. So you literally like make this game single player. They have this option for people like you.
Perfect.
Or a lot of people. Even streamers are playing this like this.
Yeah, this is absolutely me. I don't want to play with anyone else. I started playing Path of Exile 1, and there was like always like shit ton of people, and guys, get rid of my. I think no, Just no. I don't want you here. I really don't want you here.
Yeah, so they have this option here. That's
Nice.
it's not a problem. The let's talk about the microtransaction and how this actually work, and I can showcase like how and why it actually works. So
I think
if we
this
go
is
to
the
shop,
first game we can say you actually spend money because you had to
I spent
buy.
big money this.
you had to buy. What you mean on microtransaction?
Yeah, of course. I have
Oh,
like
really?
$200 here. Something.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
So you actually spend money. It's just not on mobile.
It's
Okay.
like I choose what I spend on, man. That's it.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
just one game that really
Research
catches my
purposes. Yeah,
attention.
research purposes. Whatever.
Yeah. So if
Okay.
we go to the cosmetic screen, basically, and this is the very important thing that a lot of people don't get, because on the surface it looks like, oh, this game is just pure cosmetics only. It's not, and it's definitely not. It's done very, very like smartly, cleverly, and they know what they're doing now after all those 11 years. They very well know what they're doing, and it's definitely not cosmetics only.
I know what you mentioned on the previous podcast, that pay for comfort and just extending the stash and
but not only that. There's like two major things that you can do, which gives you utility that the game can support through microtransactions. So cosmetics is just cosmetics. They are, by the way, I would call them the masters of like the skin economy, because what Path of Exile did is basically, in the beginning, when my character was just this, they would just like double the inventory. Maybe I can, give me a second. I can load in Path of Exile 1. I'll show you.
Yeah, okay.
Because what they did, they started the game with like same cosmetic slots as your normal game. So if we have, it's loading. If we have our normal character here, of course you can change like where we are. Yeah. So you can change your whatever hat, shield, whatever, stuff like that. So it started like that. And then this is the cosmetic screen now. So there's skins for stuff you don't even know it exists. So this started as originally this thing, and then it ended up in this monster. Just check how many slots there are. And this is the main number one problem with cosmetic economies, that when you have limited amount of slots, you can only add so much cosmetics into one slot that it makes any impact. Because if I have, let's say, an armor skin or whatever, helmet skin, and I will have now 300 helmet skins, does it make any sense? It does. Like, why should I? If I have like 5 or 3 that are like my favorite. But if you add another slot, suddenly I'll need to put something there and I'm going to buy it. So that's what they're doing basically. So they don't have just the basic inventory things. They have like weapon effects, which is literally like particle effects. They have like charred skin, whatever, footprints, literally like the footprints you leave behind.
That's amazing, yeah.
They have hip attachment, character effects, literally like stuff just flowing around you. That's it.
Yeah.
Then they have flask skins, so literally these flasks will have different colors. They have like so much pets, like where we are. Yeah, let's say my Vetas here. There we go. So you have pets, you have even your cursor has a skin, literally.
Of course, that's
your portrait, your frame, your belt, your I don't know what, basically. Nice. I even have apparition, which is this thing that literally if you stand in place for a while, it can, like this kind of a ghost goes from you, which I think should be triggered basically in a second. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see? So they're literally creating these slots as they go, and they're like, you never heard of these, and they have like so many of these. This is one of the main strengths of their cosmetic economy, by the way, also, that they have just so many slots that you didn't even heard of, and you need to have something for them because it makes sense. And also, this is the other important thing, each one of the skill effects that are in the game have their own skins, of course. Like you can have, like, I don't know, instead of fireballs, you can throw cats and stuff like that. They literally have a skin for it. I used to have it. And yeah, it's just like done very, very cleverly. After like 11 years, you get wild ideas and you need to get them because you run out of space. So that's seller number 1. Seller number 2 is the convenience part. So if you look here and we go to the where we are to the not the featured, but let's say the shop. So there are stash tabs, and this is the convenience part. So there's gem stash tab, flask stash tab, currency stash tab, premium stash tab, whatever stash tab.
It's also fractured like in different stuff.
Yeah. So if you look at it, this is for instance the currency stash tab. If I wouldn't have this, I can demonstrate right now. Like this thing, it doesn't even let me put into different tabs. So you see it's like stacks by 40.
Yeah.
So if I would want to pull this, I can't on top of each other. Because in the normal free-to-play shit tabs, the max stack size is 40. If I go to currency tab, the stack size, it says 40, but it's pretty much unlimited.
Yeah.
So I can now have 5,000 of these or whatever. Stuff like that.
Shit tabs.
Yeah. Then what they basically did that at some point it started to be like a pattern that every league they added a shit ton of new currencies that would be around the deed, like for instance essence, and they would add an essence tab. So you want to interact with the new league currency, like kind of in order and properly, buy a new stash tab that's kind of specifically custom designed for that currency.
Wow.
Yeah, even not all of these are here basically, and they have like a lot of them. Like I think like just few of them are here translated into Path of Exile 2, but I think there's like 15 of these basically in the main game. There are also these like where is it? Quad tab is basically the tab and the size of 4 tabs into one. These guys are super creative at this thing. That's there. And then so you see the utility here, like it's just much more better and to do everything basically.
Way better.
Yeah. And now comes the kicker. There are these premium tabs. Why premium? Because if I click here, you see you can still sort some stuff or like do things here, but you cannot do this, which is public. So what I can do is basically I can put items here and sell them to other players. So if I go here, let's say on Path of Exile trade, and I search for an item, I can pretty much directly whisper to a player to kind of get this item from him. Like, I want to buy your item for this price because it's basically an auction house.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to list items here, I would need to buy this premium stash tabs. And this is a big difference where Diablo 3 basically failed horribly when they're trying to add auction house into the economy, where these guys are basically locking the functionality of you selling, not buying. Anyone can go there and buy it. Even if I'm free to play, I can just go there.
Yeah, but you can't sell.
But you can't sell. You can go on forums and Discord and sell manually, basically.
Yeah.
But everybody knows how well that goes.
Yeah.
Or you can buy premium stash tabs, and then you can then index your items here, and pretty much like, as you said, like exact price, negotiable, don't blah blah blah, and you pick the price of it. That's it. And then in like 10 seconds, it pretty much the API takes it and it's on the site on the auction house. Because auction houses kind of destroy the ARPG loop in a way that you just go and like buy the items and then like what do you do? So and by the way, everything's tradable in Path of Exile. There's nothing that's not tradable. Like in Diablo, like nothing's tradable. In Path of Exile, everything's tradable. Because the whole game is basically based a lot around economy and trading. So still a lot of people just don't trade at all. And I mean like a lot. But there's the power players and like the top end of the players, they engage a lot with the economy, even with these like inflation cycles and stuff like that. Usually, currently it's not done for Path of Exile 1. Path of Exile 2 basically, but there's this site that we would always use where you have like
Point Ninja. Okay.
Point Ninja, where you would see like what's the basically like it's like a stock trading index basically, where you would see which item cost how much in the league. And you can see, for instance, let me pick like whatever Divine Orb, and you see how it inflates. You see?
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it goes basically. In the beginning of the league, because there's scarcity, it's nobody has anything, and then like as the currency accumulates in the economy, it inflates away and so on and so forth. That's why they're resetting the economy every 3 months. That's why it works. If we go here again, same thing. You could
in 3 months it's enough time to actually play and then get
to
somewhere.
usually complete all the goals that they do set up within these progressions, because they have usually like some kind of like skin progression that you can kind of unlock through the 3 months period, like kill these bosses, even some kind of like achievements, like kill it without whatever dying, kill it without using any potions, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So they have it here. But as you saw here, trading is like an important part of the game. If you play the trade league, if you don't play the trade league, of course, if you don't. But for big players and like the ones, especially the ones on the ladder, they are. So if we go to ladder, for instance, so these are the people you see that are pretty much on the ladder, like the top of the top. So there's one guy in the whole game that's basically level 100. And there's like a lot of other guys like level 99 behind me, but only one guy on level 100 in the whole game, basically, in trade league.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how hard it is.
Yeah.
By the way, like these are more hardcore than streamer level.
Yeah,
guys. Like these are people that are literally like
they don't have
playing
time
grand
to
character.
Stream.
One plays while the other sleeps, and so on and so forth. No, that's normal. That's normal. Like, if you're going for like world first 100, like you do this cycle.
Yeah,
like one guy is sleeping, the other guy is playing.
Of course, you don't have. Yeah, you don't have time to waste. Yeah, waste time.
Yeah. So that's what you do. So that's basically like how these guys kind of make the systems here and why they have this kind of currency and everything. It's like how it works great for them. Because also every currency, I think this is the first time they introduced gold, like this kind of a soft currency in Path of Exile 2. In Path of Exile 1, there's nothing like it, because all these currencies are basically consumable, and they help you to craft like items here. For instance, if I would, let's say, whatever, put something here and like put this item, it would add one more rare modifier into it, because it can have 6 mods, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. So all of these things you would pretty much slam into the items and craft them. The big differences, of course, between Path of Exile 1 and 2 is the skill system. As you saw on the previous image, when I log in Path of Exile 1, my skills are no longer on the gear, and I don't need to match their colors and stuff like that. This is the 10% shaving of complexity.
Thank you very much.
Which I think is great from design standpoint, because it unlocks more build diversity and more kind of easier kind of building your gear, so you don't need to kind of be stressed about like, I'm going to break my character because I cannot use my skills properly now. So the skills are now here, and all of them can be 6 linked. You just need to find the currency for it. But yeah, as I said.
Okay, so you still need to find the currency.
Yeah, but even previously you would need to, but it's just like easier. But the skill tree is a little bit streamlined. The Atlas skill tree is definitely streamlined. It's like 1/3 of it, basically, on skills. So that's there. But still, I think where we are, the endgame system, like this thing is just genius, because it's just base version of it. I can't imagine what they will do when they like kind of get league mechanics into it, because I remember when Atlas was first time devised in Path of Exile 1, it was literally at some point later down the line, it was this fight between these two entities, Shaper and the Elder. So you would literally need to like join forces with one against the other or whatever to kind of spawn it. So you would have like, I don't know how many mathematical combinations of like running this map or that map, or really do this, and it's like super engaging. And so this is their pretty much metagame layer they put on top of running the maps or running dungeons, basically. Because in Diablo, you have just like you running the dungeons, you get some points, whatever, stuff like that, you unlock something in this kind of progression. This is much more complex, and as you saw, like this is years of content locked behind these. Like all of these, like the breach mechanic here, the hand that you see here, the bosses, the corruption, the delirium mechanic, the expedition mechanic, the ritual mechanic. All of these have their own kind of like setups, own currency, own progression. There's like 10 or 15 progressions basically that you're pretty much going on at one time. So that works perfectly, and I think once like all of these things will get patched and addressed, and they will, because they already started doing patches like day 2, day 3 of early access to kind of
you have to
Yeah, you have to, especially with this giant DAU. But I'm guessing that somewhere close, like middle of January, when the team returns from holidays, there will be a massive patch.
Mid-January, when the team returns from holiday, what are you talking about?
What do you mean?
You need to work hard as fuck.
I know, but you need to return from holiday first, and then you need to
know.
work on it, and then
Yeah,
actually.
don't worry. I'm joking.
The studio is owned by Tencent, but it's not Chinese. If you're referring to that.
Yeah, that's what exactly. That was my point.
Yeah, so in my opinion, they just don't have currently a competition in the ARPG genre from design standpoint. And yeah, my guess is this is still bigger DAU than Diablo 4 itself.
Yeah.
Like Steam numbers, Diablo 4 is like 15, 20k DAU or something, but most of their numbers is on Battle.net. It's not on Steam. It's not their platform at all. So it's not that low, of course, but my guess is it's still lower than Path of Exile 2.
Everybody's bitching about it, honestly, and like dropping like flies, basically, right after. There wasn't any update that's worth playing or returning back to Diablo 4 yet.
Yeah. And the thing is that this DAU, like as I said, this DAU is if somebody tells you like, oh, this is dropping into that, it won't. Path of Exile players are pretty much trained that they will go play the content for like 1 to 2 months, and then they return back when the new league hits. And this has been happening for 11 years in Path of Exile 1, and it hits all-time high just this summer. Yeah. So last summer, I mean. So it's not that like, oh, it's good. No, it's not going down. It's just taking on more people, actually. Because in this game, you're not rushed to kind of play all the time, live ops wise. You need gear stuff. It's like much more closer to something like World of Tanks, World of Battleships. Basically.
Yeah, but
even
still the complexity. You actually you don't need to play, but you need to read all the fucking builds and everything on the internet, which takes a lot of time.
You don't need to read the build, but you will fail hard then.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say.
So come on.
Like they actually made it a little bit better here. If I go here and show you, so let's say you're here, and like these are the recommended skills. I can go to all gems, and like these are all the skills. But if let's say I'm going whatever
occultist
character, these are the recommended skills for you at each levels.
So
they're
at least
they're putting
some
guardrails here. My guess is that they will put more and more, but this is not the main problem for the game they need to solve. So because there's like more than 500k daily people playing it, so they're solving much bigger problems, which are systemic problems within the design of the ARPG. As I said, the armor problem, the eternal problem of melee characters being worse than caster and range characters because they just need to get to the mobs, which means they hit much more often by the mobs than the other characters. So a lot of these other issues.
You have the dodge, so you need to dodge the attacks.
Dodge, then you die.
If you don't,
so a lot of things, and I'm really looking forward how they will kind of move from this, because my guess is they will need to probably ramp up the team a little bit to kind of run all the things, because there are two teams actually. Because originally, by the way, last history piece here, originally this was meant to be upgrade of Path of Exile 1. Path of Exile 1 was supposed to cease to exist.
Really? Is this was supposed to be the Clash of Clans second world?
Counter-Strike
2. Okay, Counter-Strike.
So Counter-Strike is Counter-Strike, and everything else was pretty much just patched out, and there's the new Counter-Strike.
Okay,
it was supposed to be like it. It's not, and I think in the end it was a very, very good decision, because a lot of time this is not for everyone, and because they slowed the game so much with this kind of Dark Souls rolling and everything mechanic, and people were used to Path of Exile 1 gameplay of zoom, where you would literally like do 30 seconds and then you would kill the whole map. That's how fast it can get. It can super fast. So people are used to it, and people like this playstyle, so they can stay and play Path of Exile 1 still, which is still supported.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, are you gonna play both or one game only?
Of course, I'm gonna play 2. I'm just gonna play 2. No. The second one.
Okay, the second one.
I just played the first one for like 10 years, and I'm like,
it's enough.
It's enough. Like, I don't know. I want to play the upgrade because I know that this one eventually will get better. Like, the thing that I really like about the second one now is that it doesn't have actually 11 years of content in it that I need to care about, because at some point Path of Exile 1 has so much content in it that you literally, as I said, it turned from university to PhD actually now. That you need to kind of like just learn what you need to progress and where. Now
it's like no way for me to enter.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's Path of Exile 2 is actually streamlined for me. For you, it's still like shaving of just 10%. But for me, it's easy because I don't need to care about that much stuff. I can just care about the mechanics that I have now in the Atlas tree. I'm really looking forward how they're going to run their live ops for this, the leaks and everything. Even the loot boxes, you could see that like most of my By the way, another important thing they said that all of these cosmetics you see here are from Path of Exile 1. So whatever you bought in Path of Exile 1, it transferred to Path of Exile 2. Stash tabs, everything, 1-to-1. So all my things, like you see here, like is still not yet available because it's not implemented into game, but it will be.
It will be.
So all of your skins, everything translates into this 1-to-1. For instance, footprints. Now I have like these submarines. I don't know why they're. I have it from I don't know which league was this. So they're there. So nice. Everything translates. It's very nice of them. So it really helps. Like, and so much, much invested time.
The interoperability. There you go.
Yeah, that's your interoperability. Finally, once in a lifetime.
Yeah, there you go. Shit, it doesn't need to be Web3 game.
Exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm looking forward how this will end up, because it's definitely like, not saying it's gonna be easy, right? It's gonna be very rough, especially on the system side. It's gonna be rough on like cannibalization front if they were gonna cannibalize 1 and 2 and stuff like that. Competition wise, there's not that much competition.
There always is competition.
There's always is. It's not even Diablo. It's like Last Epoch and like all these other like ARPG games that are catching on, that they like saw what Path of Exile was doing from throughout the years, and they like you're tying a new spin on it. Why not? Like, that's great. Competition is always great.
Exactly.
But yeah, they need to step up a little bit, I would say, after like this kind of hype thing runs down and people start to see the problems that are starting to be very obvious now, and just patch them out, because they know what they're doing. They've been there. For instance, the rarity problem that we talk about, they actually completely removed it from the first game. I don't even know why they put it into the second game, because it's like you like rarity, we got the same shit again for you. And people are bitching about it already. Everything is being inflated away. Like, it's mandatory to have it on your gear, otherwise you're not effective. Blah blah blah. So, and they explicitly said that they don't want to have stuff that's mandatory on your gear. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
But for me, I think now, finally, after all these years, people will take notice, and people will now start to kind of at least.
You mean take notice?
No. I'm talking about the free-to-play model and the uniqueness of it. That, like, at some point, I think people will start to think about this, maybe even on mobile, not only on PC, that there are different ways how to do free-to-play. And you can even have big spenders in this game. Like, the skin economy and the utility economy still have a lot of spend. Like, just if you just take how much... Let's just do a simple example here for last thing we do. So... Let's say
never simple example in Path of Exile.
Let's see. So points, 100 points is $10. 200 points, $20, whatever. So if we go here and let's say the currency tab is 75 points. So it's $10 just for the one tab. Just saying. If you want the quad tab, it's double that.
Easy.
So spend depth for this game isn't that low as it could seem. That it's just it's just cosmetics, and no, it's not. So you can do pay for comfort, free to play, kind of for PC, because this is every PC player accepts this. There's no power selling, nothing. Even though we locked auction house and utility behind the paywall, it's still very acceptable. So you can do free to play also in this sense. That's not a problem.
Nice.
Okay, that's it. We'll return it to it definitely later when an expansion or some major stuff.
No, when
gonna
I
come
start playing,
kicks
and
in.
then we can talk about it a little bit more. No,
Yeah,
no,
for
it's
sure.
gonna be in the future. Thank you very much for listening and watching this on YouTube. Please join our Slack channel so we can discuss this there as well, and you're up to date on all of our interesting stuff that we are preparing. And since Felix is not here, we still need to do the subtitle salesperson. But it's in the end
Thank
of
you
the
for
podcast.
watching this without subtitles. Now you
Exactly.
know that you could have watched this
could
with
have
subtitles.
with subtitles, exactly. So go and
Jokes
check
on you.
Jokes on you. Thank you very much again. See you next time. Please leave a comment on the YouTube and join the Slack channel. Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.